Well, 30 seconds.
But we're live, so don't say anything stupid.
This could be a good one.
We have
20.
3 thread theaters. 3, count them 3.
Not gonna be that good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's very dishy. And you too,
10.
if you have something to say, raise your hand and we will direct you to a microphone.
5, 4.
They're Canadian. They
Pray.
know things.
Our place, where we can dream and share it. Our place, you'll find a friend to care.
Well, let's just keep the music on. I mean, it's just such a great and catchy tune. At our place. Cha-cha-cha. I'm Louise Blanker, your lovely and captivating host of Our Place Out Loud. We are here with a panel of wise and wonderful teens. We've got Montana, Kiamute, Maddie, Nico, and, of course, in the booth, Command Central, we have Jake. And we have Canadian guests with us. I don't know if there's a camera trained on them. They are Jay and Stephanie. So just imagine them. They will be your imaginary friends for this evening. Anyone have any news to report? Any shout-outs? Anything going on in chat, Jake?
They like our dancing intro?
They do. We're very excellent dancers. Yes, Maddie?
I got attacked by a scorpion in Vegas.
Wow.
Yep.
I would have thought of Virgo maybe, but wait, what happened?
Apparently, in the suburbs of Vegas, in the palm trees, live these scorpions that are about this big, and they're like neon. So
they live in the trees?
They live in the trees. Yeah.
And what were you doing in the tree?
I was I was not in the tree. My brother happened to be working outside. He was doing some homework. We were staying with my aunt and uncle over the weekend in Vegas because they live in the suburbs. And he was doing his work outside, and one decided to crawl inside his backpack.
Oh.
So when I went to go get my computer charger, which he was borrowing, I pulled it out, and I was like, why is the computer charger moving?
Ew.
And there was a scorpion on it, and it wasn't fun.
So can they kill you?
Not those ones, but
Okay.
there are some that can.
All right.
You know those big black ones you always see like in the pet stores? I think those can.
Okay, so do not handle the scorpions.
Yeah, no, bad idea.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
All right, let's just jump right into the show. We've got all kinds of exciting stuff because when we left off last week, we were talking about pansexual / gender fluid because a lot of us had encountered that term for the first time. So we're going to jump right into thread theater, and we're just going to go around the room with this. We're going to have J Styles Forever is Montana, Jenna is Keo, Kamara is Maddie, Nick N, interesting, is Nico, and then we'll just start back around again, unless you want a part, Jake. You want to be Watermelon Girl?
Jake definitely wants a part.
Jake, you can be Watermelon Girl.
He really wants to be Watermelon Girl.
And then,
Thank you very much for
Better you than
including
me.
You can be Watermelon Girl, and then you will be Kenna, Nico. Curtain up on Thread Theater. What is pan? J Styles Forever.
Does pansexual mean I'm bi?
Jenna.
There's a difference, but it can be a little hard to understand. Bisexual means you're attracted to men and women. It's a physical attraction. You like both. Pansexual means the gender doesn't matter. You aren't attracted to someone because they are male or female, but instead because they are who they are.
Bisexual can be attracted to both men and women. Pansexual can be attracted to someone regardless of gender. The difference is that pan includes people who have non-binary gender identities, such as transgender, agender, bigender, gender fluid, etc.
Nick N.
Pansexual is gender blind. They can still care about appearance.
Watermelon.
So to answer your question, if you're pansexual, you're technically bisexual, but if you're bisexual, it doesn't necessarily mean you're pansexual. It's kind of like a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle isn't necessarily a square.
Kenna.
Bi likes boys and girls. May like both equally, but maybe likes a girl a little more, or vice versa. Pan likes girls, guys, bisexuals, pansexuals, transsexuals, gender fluid, etc. All the same.
Wow. All right, so did everyone understand that, or do we still have some questions? Okay, Montana.
Okay, what is bigender?
Well, there were a lot of... So one of these kind of rattled off a lot of different things that you can be. Transgender, agender, bigender. It could be that you have both male and female.
And female.
I just invented a new word. It could be that bigender is you have both parts, because some babies
Oh,
are born with both
But
parts.
that's hermaphrodite.
It is?
Yeah.
I thought hermaphrodite had no parts.
No, hermaphrodite is both. And I don't know if you can be born with none, but
I
they
don't-
did it in a movie once that I saw, and Ellen Rickman was awesome.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that
Sorry.
was a whole mystery of Kyle XY or something, or he didn't have a belly button or something.
No, he
like
didn't
that.
have a belly button.
Then he had boy parts then.
Maybe.
So if
System.
you're
Whatever
so,
he chose to identify with. Come on.
So the way I'm understanding it is bisexual means, even though they're saying you're pansexual means you're attracted to the person and gender doesn't matter, I still think there's always going to be some sexuality involved in attraction, whether you claim it or not. And so pansexual would mean that it doesn't matter if the person was born with a male part but identifies as female, that you'd still love the person. Like the pan would qualify for all of that, and then bi would be just either a boy or a girl. Is that right, Montana?
Well, I mean, I was kind of confused about it too, because well, I think you have to, in a lot of cases, you can be a bit of both, like both bisexual and pansexual, because you can be attracted to someone for their specifically male or female qualities, but also like mainly attracted to them for how they are and their personality, and it doesn't matter what technical biological gender they are or what they choose to identify with, and it gets so confusing.
Nico?
See, I'm still a little confused because I feel like bisexual and pansexual still accomplishes the same goal of you like everyone, so well, there you go, you like everyone. It tries to accomplish the same goal. I don't really understand the difference there.
I think it's everyone versus both genders. I think that that's what it is. I think that bisexual means boys and girls, and pansexual means just everything under the sun.
So if you were pansexual, then if you were with somebody who decided to have a sex change operation, you'd still love them because they're the same person. And
Exactly.
did you have a point,
But-
Jake?
Yeah, I think the point is also that bisexual is for both genders, but you may prefer one to the other, whereas pansexual just gender does not matter at all in the equation entirely.
Montana?
Yeah, but if you're bisexual, and your like girlfriend or boyfriend gets a sex change, you should like still love them for who they are. Just that's just kind of a thing in a relationship. I don't think that should be like label specific.
And already because you already love both genders, right?
What?
Well, if you change from boy to girl, it really shouldn't matter to a
Well,
bisexual person either.
I mean, I don't know if that has to do with the bisexual part so much as the person, if they like. Well, actually, if they're if they're bisexual, I think it doesn't matter, but it depends on the person, I guess.
All right, so what we've been talking about has to do with sexual attraction. So the next thread theater has to do with how you identify in terms of whether you identify as boy or girl or something that isn't exactly boy or girl. So this one is called Thread Theater Gender Fluid, and the initial question came in from Lucifer Hynex, and I'm going to let Nico play that. And then let's just go around the room because there's a lot of small lines. And I will call out the name of the screen name of the person who posted in advance. Lucifer Hynex,
I think I'm gender fluid.
Black Hole Sun,
So do I.
Lucifer Hynex.
Yes. Wait, really? I want to talk with someone who thinks the same as me.
Wolfiedom,
Yeah, so do I. I kind of know, but yeah.
and I, and a lot of numbers and letters.
What does that mean?
Yeti,
Yeah, haha. What do you mean by gender fluid?
Lucifer,
That you don't identify with either male or female is the simple term.
Yeti,
Oh my gosh, yes.
Wanna Be Me,
That would be me too.
Riley T,
I understand that I'm transgender, but for a while I felt in the middle. I know how frustrating it is to be stuck in the middle.
Tank Girl,
That's kind of how I feel. I'm trans as well. Most of the time I present as a girl, but sometimes I'll present more masculine. But a lot of the time I like to be rather androgynous looking.
Chimera,
I'm gender fluid too.
Smiley Face,
Me too.
Lucifer,
Really?
Chimera, I don't think she talks that way, but okay. Camera?
Yeah, sometimes I feel female and sometimes I feel male. Sometimes it's a real crappy thing when I feel like my body is wrong, but it helps to know I'm not alone.
Okay, so I want to go to you, Nico, really quick, because last week you seemed confused that there were people who felt this confused in terms of gender identity. But so are you surprised to see how many people were relating to the question?
I'm more surprised at how many terms I don't know, because I mean, there's throwing a lot of stuff out there, like androgynous or the stuff from before, like bigender, and yeah, like when I said before, I accidentally said that transvestites were a lot like the gender fluid people. What I meant was transgendered, so I'm sorry about that, everyone. But I feel like, I still feel like gender fluid would be like that middle ground, like Riley T said right here. I understand that I am transgender, but for a while I felt in the middle. I know how frustrating it is being stuck in the middle. Like I feel like gender fluid would be stuck in the middle of deciding whether you identify as a boy or a girl.
Mm-hmm. But in the Urban Dictionary, it said that some days you may feel more female, and then other days you may feel more male. Maybe it could depend on several different factors, like the moon. I don't know, because if the atmosphere has an effect on how we feel. It just. So if some people aren't clear about how they identify, maybe some atmospheric factors could weigh in. That's why I think everyone would need to wait until they're over 18 before they would have a sex change operation, just to make sure that this is what they really want to do. And even doctors will have you live for 2 years as the other gender before they'll do the operation. Kyo?
I just thought of a question that, like, this just kind of just popped in my head. What does it really mean to feel a gender?
Yeah, that is a good question.
How much does your gender decide your identity?
How far is far? Jake?
Okay, this kind of lies mostly just on our society being stupid, that, like, you have to be something, like there's just two little things. It's supposed to be like a scale or something, and you belong somewhere on the gradient or whatever, and there are people in the middle, there are people on the right side, there are people the complete opposite sex that they're born at. Most of these things come from our society saying you have to be one point or you have to be on one side, and it's just kind of our society not catching up to the times.
Is it society, Jake, or is it that most babies are born with either one set of parts or the other set of parts? Montana?
Yeah, but regardless of what, biological gender they're born as, if a baby's born as a girl, it doesn't automatically be like, oh, I'm a girl, I wear pink. That's more of just stuff that we've imposed onto them. So, like what Kia was saying, what really defines a gender? Is it what we think of, like, what our society has told us, like, what a man does and what a woman does? Or is it just, like, people?
Kyo?
Yeah, I would also say that what society is saying makes a man, and what male traits or character traits, whatever that means, I think that changes over time within societies, and it's different within different societies.
Ah, interesting. Maddie?
I think that all these different labels are people kind of feeling like they need to label what they are, when it probably would be much more easier to kind of provide a description of how you're feeling. Like when people were describing what gender fluid is, how, you feel like a girl some days, you feel like a boy some days, I feel like that might be a better way to kind of label yourself versus trying to find a name that accurately sums up everything.
And everyone can be as unique as they are in terms of their other interests. Like you could take a person who likes key lime pie and surfing and Legos, and also reads Harlequin romances, and everyone is such an interesting. Every person in this room, if you were to make a list of your likes and dislikes, it was so unique and specific, and then that doesn't even start to begin to describe your personality, which is its own unique and specific array of different colors. And so, like, I'm a tomboy, and I don't. But when it comes to a fancy event, I'm not going to wear a pantsuit. I'm going to put on a dress and look like a lady. So that's specifically me. There'd be other tomboys that dress like me most of the time, and then when it comes to a fancy event, they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna put on a pantsuit and call myself fancy. And everyone is specifically unique. So I'm a tomboy who's attracted to men, and there's other girls that dress like I do that would be lesbians, probably more often. Montana.
Another thing that I'm very confused about is like how our society has just decided that something is specifically male or female, especially in I was listening to this David Sedaris thing on he was trying to learn French or something in the story, and he had a really hard problem with like he couldn't figure out what noun had like which gender, and like a lot of them are completely arbitrary, like screwdrivers, male, or...
That's not arbitrary.
Okay, that's not arbitrary. Like cat is male, but then for Halloween, all the girls dress up as cats. I mean, not all of them have to. You don't have to. What? But, like, in our society, sometimes, more than often, we think of cats as, like, more feminine, while dogs is more masculine.
Okay, so I have a question regarding that. In
Yeah.
Spanish and in French, are all the same nouns the same sex?
I am taking Chinese.
No, the answer is
Really?
no.
So
No.
each culture decides that table is a girl.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it has more to do with the actual word structure, not actually what the item is. So table in Spanish is mesa, which ends with an A.
So
that would
in
be
French,
la
it's
mesa.
sur la table, which would be a lady table.
But what if it
Of
ended
course.
with, like, a Q?
Then I'm not exactly sure when it comes
Gender
to
fluid.
It's a gender fluid word.
All right, so we will come back to this conversation because it is certainly very, very interesting and educational. We are at 888-531-7171 if you would like to weigh in. And I think last week we were talking about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that kids could read about all the different things that there are to be. Is it make them feel like, oh, then I'm not alone, there's other people like me, or does it make them feel like, oh, I might be that, or tomorrow I might be that? Is it confusing, or is it soothing to hear about so many different types of ways of or labeling people, I guess I'm saying, Keo?
I kind of think it's both. I think there's some like reassuring, like, oh, other people feel this way, but it also gets to a point where there's so many things that one day you're this thing and one day you're another thing. So you kind of have an identity crisis within that, because the whole reason that kids are calling themselves things is because they want to kind of solidify their identity, I think.
But is that any different than saying, well, I used to like to play Legos, but now I play golf? Like, is it any really different than just changing kind of as you grow?
Well, I think it's kind of different because golf just got invented. Like, this new thing just was invented and now I'm this, rather than, I don't know, I mean...
Yeah, no, I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. Like, the whole gender thing has gone on since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Montana.
My view on it is, like, they're meant to make you feel better, and it's your identity, so use them if that makes you feel good. And if it confuses you horribly, like it does me, don't throw them out the window. Because they're just really more conventions that we've added to, like, other than male and female. Maddie, what do you think?
Well,
Transitions.
I think it's exactly what you're saying. I think that, it's there for people who would feel more comfortable using them. So, people who, think that they're bi can use the term bi, but it's like study guides. If you need it, then use it. If you don't, then why? So, exactly. Nico.
I think what I'm kind of getting from all this, I haven't really done a lot of research on it exactly, but what I'm kind of feeling from all this is how it starts. It maybe has like started out as some kind of thing where I feel more like this gender, or I feel like I like this set of genders more one day. So, they did that so maybe other people could feel like them, and they started identifying that term so other people could. But I feel like it has the potential, and it might actually be used today to just make people feel like they're a bit of a special snowflake. I mean, it's kind of a mean term to say, but...
What's so mean about calling someone a snowflake?
Special snowflake.
I mean, when I say special snowflake, when I hear it, it's like, oh god, that guy's trying to be a special snowflake. But what I'm trying to get across here is maybe people are trying to use it to stand out from a crowd rather than really identify with what they're feeling.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Or you might just kind of look in the mirror and go, today I just feel kind of aqua. You just try and coming up with some kind of term that describes your mood. And so maybe they're just trying to come up with something that describes how they feel because they've tried to use every type of terminology to express to their friends or to boyfriends or girlfriends what it is they are, and they haven't found it, and then so they invent their own, because there's so many different ways to feel about your own gender and who you're attracted to, and we have kept it kind of linear, and maybe it deserves more than that. Is that kind of what you're thinking, Nico?
Yes.
More or less. Give us a call at 888-531-7171. We are Our Place Out Loud here with a lovely panel of wise and wonderful teens. We're going to jump into questions. This screen name is LPLKS1123. I don't know how to pronounce it. But she writes, okay, so my boyfriend and I are ready to go all the way, but we hate that we're going to have to keep it secret because my parents are overly religious and said they would disown me if I ever was having intercourse, and I don't know where to turn. And after we get through discussing this, I'm going to read Jenny's answer because I thought Jenny had Jenny in the app had an interesting answer. Nowhere is the age disclosed, but let's assume that they're under the age of 18. Is it interesting to you that she doesn't seem to think that there's any choice between either having, like, her only choice is to have sex and keep it a secret? It hasn't occurred to her that maybe she can not have sex? Who else wants to talk about the question? Montana.
Well, being a teenager, sometimes you might feel like that's a thing just because, like, hormones. But, yeah, it's not pleasant to have to keep something that big a secret, especially if, God forbid, anything were to happen, like she were to get pregnant or like disease. You wouldn't want to have to keep it from your parents, and yeah, it's just not fun to keep a secret. And my advice to you would be, do that when you think you're ready, and you say you're ready, but like, if you might feel like maturity level you're ready, and you might be right, but there still comes into play like the real world factors of that, being like the monetary and blah 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 that nobody wants to think about. But
wouldn't the analogy be, I feel ready to ski down a mountain, but if something happens, you're going to have to tell your parents that you were skiing down a mountain, and then they're going to be really angry. So, Kyo.
Just wait. I mean, you're not going to miss out. It's just going to happen later when there's no risk, really. I mean, there's still obviously risk, but you're not going to have to keep it a secret, and it'll be it'll be better, like, as far as you feel.
Do a lot of girls worry that they're going to lose a boy if they don't have sex? Maddie?
That's an interesting question. I mean, obviously I don't know about, if there's actual statistics of that. But, I mean, I feel like now, girls who are teenagers are a lot more, like, they have much stronger morals. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like, at least the girls that I know, like, if they had a boyfriend who, was pushing them to have sex and they didn't want to, they'd be like, well, we're done. That's it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think it's a major problem. It could be.
I hope you're right. Jake?
Okay. When you said it like that, it made me question something that I hadn't thought of, because when she, like, that, I hadn't thought that maybe the guy was pushing her because of the way she said it. She said, me and my boyfriend are ready to blah, 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 and she used the word intercourse, which no one uses the word intercourse unless they're being totally serious about something. And I thought that she sounded like a mature person just in writing this. She's not like, I want to have sex, but my boyfriend was like really, or I don't want to, my boyfriend's really pushy. That's something that is like a problem I could see. But she seemed like she was in a totally logical state of mind, and that they were making this decision together, which I totally respect and understand. But it's still kind of, you could ruin your life forever. That's kind of a big deal. No matter what it is, no matter what you're ready for, if it's that big, you have to sit and think on it for a while.
Nico.
I'm gonna go over like a few possibilities here of what's really going on. Like, let's assume she is under 18. It might be that the boyfriend is pressuring her. In that case, that's a bad guy. You don't want to be with him. Second, it might be that she feels like it's up to society's standards that she sleep with him at a certain point, and that's also not true. Now, let's assume she is over 18. She's probably still living in her parents' house. She's probably still relying on them for, like, housing and all that stuff.
Or college. And
Yeah, exactly. So I feel part of it is maybe they are a little too overbearing on you. I mean, it is you're 18, you're legally an adult, but you're also living under their roof. They're paying for a lot of your stuff. I feel like there should be a certain level of respect there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they're sticking their neck out to do all this stuff for you, then there should be some level of, okay, I'm going to listen to this rule, yeah. What did you have to think, Montana?
Yeah, I agree with you, but the problem is we're so disconnected from it. Like, if we were in the same situation and we felt like our parents were, like, super overbearing about it, it would be super easy to just write them off. But my advice to her is just, it's easy to write them off, but, it's such a good point, but I forgot what I was gonna say.
All right.
Oh my god. Can I come back?
Yeah,
in a
Keo's
sec?
going to talk and you're going
I'm
to suddenly
sorry.
remember it.
Just to say, like, I think that is being disconnected is a good thing if you're giving advice, because that's part of the reason you look for advice, so get a different perspective out of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Nico that there is a certain, like, respect that you need to give if you're living under their house. And I mean, it's not, and if the boy is pressuring you, and I know this is easy to say and not to actually feel, but if they're gonna break up with you because if you're not doing it, then that's better. That's better than having sex with them. Then, like, because they're not someone you want to be your boyfriend, really, because it's only.
And even if she's 18 and she's old enough to handle the responsibility of being sexually intimate, if her parents are very, very religious, how is she going to feel walking around the house knowing that she's keeping this lie from them, going to church, sitting with them, and holding on to such a powerful secret? Maddie?
I think that, she needs to either, she really needs to just kind of know what the consequences are of making that decision. And, one of them is that, if your parents find out, they could be really angry. And this is, I'm just going to say all this for, someone who's 18 or older.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if your parents find out, they're going to be angry, as you said in the, letter. And, you're still their child, and you don't want to, make them angry on purpose. You need to be able to live with the, feeling of, I really don't feel comfortable, telling them this, or I need to tell them, and I need to be okay with what they're going to say. So I think making that decision, you need to be aware of the consequences, what's going to happen afterwards. Montana, what do you think?
And, yeah, all those arguments make sense, but one that I think would appeal more to her, because when you want to do something, you're not always thinking logically.
Mm-hmm.
If you have sex with him and keep this big secret, it's not going to be, like, nearly as fun, I guess, because then there's so much that you have to, like, sneak around and, like, not tell your parents and deal with all your medical stuff, if that should be a problem, like, go to Planned Parenthood by yourself. Like for birth control or something.
Well, you should go see a gynecologist before you become sexually active so that you can talk about all of your health and safety concerns in advance of
And
sexual activity.
You're not going to have the same, like, support and love of your parents like helping you be safe, and it would just be really like awful, and you would
it's
feel degrading almost.
I like the way that you phrased that. You might feel some of those horrible words that they call girls, which I don't believe any girls are, but
No,
you might feel like you're being bad because you've been taught not to, and then you're doing it.
But not even necessarily that. More like it just won't be as the secrecy and the lies of it all will kind of eventually come between your relationship.
They take the love out of it. They
Yeah.
take the meaning. It's a loving act, and it should be meaningful, not something that's secretive and clandestine and makes you feel like you're letting someone else down because you're sharing this wonderful bond with your significant other. Maddie?
Can I read Jenny's answer?
Yes, please do.
So Jenny said, if you're under 18, you should respect your parents' rule. Any sex that has to be kept top secret probably shouldn't be happening.
Jenny is just very sound and wise, isn't she?
She is, and her advice is like very wholesome. It's like covers everything in very simple ways.
Yes, exactly. She gets right to the point in a very respectful manner. All right, girl 0700 writes, I feel like my stepmom of 6 years likes her biological children more than me and my brother. I'm 13 and I don't know how to handle it or confront her. So let me start off by saying I think that any kid who is in a step family who doesn't accept that the step parent is going to just naturally favor the children that they had coming into the relationship with your father or mother, let's just accept that coming in the door. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a love thing. I think it's an instinct thing. But to expect the same exact feeling, I think you could be loved differently. Nico?
I feel like this definitely goes down to a biological level, is what we're basically saying. right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
It's
Even
like-
if the kids are adopted, it doesn't matter.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
Because I'm taking psychology, and we learned that recently.
Oh, okay.
that-
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about this for a sec. Like, let's say I'm a mother. I just carried this beautiful baby boy and pushed him out of myself through 3 hours of labor or whatever happens there.
3
When you
hours.
get married, you will find that if it is 3 hours, that you will drop to your knees and thank the heavenly Father above, because it can take like 2 days.
Thank God I am not a girl. And then I feel like I'm going to have more of a bond with this kid because he's a lot closer to me. He is a huge part of me. He literally is a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get divorced and I marry this other guy who has another kid.
Some other lady pushed out of her, so
Yeah,
not
exactly.
a problem.
I didn't push him out of me, but I could learn to love this kid. But I feel like if I was in that position, there would always be a side of me that would always slightly prefer the one I gave birth to, and I feel like that's really awful to say because I feel like she's a mother figure of both these children, and they may deserve her equal love.
Well, having said what you said, and I get it, and what Kio's about to say about biology, I totally get that. But if you fall in love with a man who has children, you fell in love with a man who has children. And whether or not you're capable of loving them the same way as your own biological children, they are children on this earth. And all of the earth's children are all of our children. And they have to feel love from you. So I do think that the stepmother has, I don't even want to use a clinical term like obligation, but just should have a loving heart that these are a part of the man you love. So they matter as much, and try very hard. I know it can get stressful in step families. Kio?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think she has a responsibility to show her love for this kid. But just to say what I'm learning in psychology is that humans are biologically predisposed to want to pass on their genes. So there's like a circle, and the closer someone has the closer someone is genetically to you, the more likely you are to want to help them or care for them, and things like that. That being said, I think that if I were you, I don't know, there's a lot of different different things that affect the situation, like the other kids, what's your relationship with your stepbrothers or sisters, and maybe you can talk to your dad. You don't necessarily have to confront your stepmom right off the bat. Montana?
Well, if she actually like doesn't love them as much, like that's understandable, but it does go both ways. Like if you have two parents and one of them loves you less than the other kids, you're likely to not respect them nearly as much just because you don't feel like any connection. Like if they don't love you, they don't get anything from you, and that can be sort of a problem between a family, especially if it's the stepmom of 6 years. So my advice, I mean, I've never been in this situation, but speculation would just be to, even if you don't really feel anything for her, just try to be like, just be pleasant. It's better than being angry.
Mm-hmm. Maddie?
I think that, you know, if it's really a concern where you feel like, you know, your stepmom is, you know, being, not that, you know, just she loves you less, but she's actually being, you know, mean, like evil stepmother style, you should probably say something to either the stepmom or, you know, your dad, because, you know, he obviously loves her enough, you know, they got married and, you know, everything. So, I mean, you could ask your stepmom, you know, do you love me? I mean, that could be very controversial, but I mean, that might, you know, the stepmother might think, you know, oh, maybe the fact that they're asking me that, maybe I'm not, you know, showing them I love them as much as I, you know, want to.
But rather than pinning her into a corner like that, what if she said something like, what can I do to improve our relationship? Because maybe the idea is don't expect as loving a relationship, just expect a respect relationship and then grow from there. Kyo?
Yeah, before you even say anything to anyone, I would just try and do things like say, hey, can we do this or that, and spend time with her, because if you say something to, I mean, I wouldn't expect you to say something to her. I would expect you to say something to her dad, your dad first. If you say something to your dad, then he's going to be like, he's going to come to her probably saying, did you do something to so-and-so, or like, what, is there a problem? When there's not necessarily a problem, it's just you get this kind of feeling. Nico?
I think the best advice we could possibly give to the person right now is not to expect love from the parent. You should expect a certain level of respect, like you said, because you're going into a relationship with the person. You've got to accept every part of them, and that includes their children. So you should expect a level of respect. But love is a thing, it's trust. You've got to earn it. There's got to be something where you work at it too. It's not just one person who you expect to love you. You've got to let them see a side of you that they can't love. What did you want to say?
I don't know. That comes off to me as like something that doesn't sit right with me exactly, because maybe you don't expect like motherly love, but I think you should expect a certain level of kindness from her, and that's like,
no, I'm not like saying like she should respect you like you know, like a soldier or anything, like,
yeah.
oh, you're just standing straight. But yeah, she should be kind to you and all that.
Yeah, and I mean that's I think you should expect a form of love. I mean, there's different levels of how much you can love someone and everything. I think you can you should expect a form of love, but I don't think that it's healthy for you to necessarily compare yourself to her children.
It's not realistic, and so I would love it if you're in a step family, if you would go into chat headquarters in the Our Place app and tell us the story behind your step family, because we would just love to hear how it's working in a variety of different families, and ways that your family found to help it work, or ways in which it's not working within your family where you might need some help. We are at 888-531-7171. I am Louise Palanker, here with a lovely cast of fine and wise teenagers. We're going to take the next question. You can give us a call at 888-531-7171. This question I found interesting. LILMS Beats writes, any revenge ideas? And don't tell me revenge is not the way to go. So I love how the person A is out for revenge and B is not interested in our morality. There's just in two sentences, there's just several layers of grime. So how do we comb through this, Nico?
Well, if I wanted to try to give some like serious helpful advice here, I recently saw a movie called Carrie. These girls were really rude to her. They dumped pig's blood or something on her head, I think. So what you have to do is get really wicked mind powers and kill everyone in your town. Something like that.
That's the best revenge idea ever. Wicked mind powers.
Radical mind powers, dude.
Is there an app for that?
Really, I'm not sure. I'm not the revenge kind of guy. I'm mad about like a day, and then I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like later. So I don't know.
Everyone says that success is the best revenge anyway, right?
Exactly. Just be happier than them, and they'll get super pissed off. Maddie, what was your revenge idea?
I didn't have a revenge idea, however. I know that she said that revenge is not the way to go, but I would just kind of take a look at your situation and see either whether it actually needs revenge or whether you can kind of use a subtle type of revenge or whether, it's more of like a... it really depends on the situation because, sometimes it feels like a really angry situation because it's, something just happened. But if you kind of like stop and think about it, maybe you either don't need revenge or you do, and then that is
I can't think of a time ever where revenge is a good idea.
Well, I mean, revenge in the way that, like, you know what I mean? Just like, kill them with kindness type revenge.
Well, that's good. I mean, if someone throws a paper towel at me, I might throw the paper towel back at them.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a different kind of, yeah.
Jake?
There's some Buddha quote out there involving comparing holding on to anger to holding a hot coal and then attempting to throw it at someone. Only you're gonna get burned. Blah 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 blah. Revenge is probably a bad thing, whether you think so or not. And any attempts that you're trying, if they actually wronged you and they were like they're in the wrong here, making them continue to make you feel bad is them winning. Just get over it and let go because you deserve that because you were in the right. If it's just some squabble, just get over it. It's not a big deal. Revenge is rarely necessary outside of like the 8th century or something.
I love it. Very good. We're going to go to the phones. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Who have we?
It is Mrs. Jordan Chris Colfer.
Hello, Mrs. Jordan Chris Colfer. What did you have to add to the conversation tonight?
Well, first, when I saw the float up for Our Place Out Loud, I saw Revenge on there, and I'm like, yes, this is the one I called for.
Yes.
So,
did you have any thoughts on revenge?
Revenge can be good and can be therapeutic as long as it doesn't go too far as hurting someone.
Mm-hmm. So what would be a good example of therapeutic revenge? It doesn't end badly for everyone.
Maybe a whoopee cushion or something. I don't know.
And now you're creative. I love it. Maddie's going to weigh in here first. Montana's hand is up. Hold on a second, Mrs. Colfer.
Okay.
Did you have something, Maddie?
Nope.
I couldn't tell if your hand was up or not.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just like...
Yeah, you're just kind of like being beautiful. Okay.
Of course.
Montana.
You know me, gorgeous all the time.
Yeah, I used to... In middle school, I hated a lot of people.
Yeah.
Which sounds really bad, but...
Well, it's middle school.
Who didn't?
Who likes those people?
Nobody had a good time. And I used to get really mad, and I had a surprisingly large list of revenge tactics, and it got to a place where it was kind of creepy. But what I learned from that is, like, wow, you care so much to myself, not to them, but, like, you need to just let it go.
Like what Jake just said. Yep.
Well, okay, that's not that simple to say in like, it's easy to say right now, but then it was so awful because, like, can I tell a quick story?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I was in drama class, and we were doing a skit for something, and then I got up on stage, and I was doing the skit, and blah, 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 and all the girls were so mean to me, and then they were like, they were like booing me off stage, and then my drama teacher joined in and booed me off stage.
Oh no!
She was crazy though, so I don't blame her. Bad things happen to her later. Oh, that's the other thing. If they deserve revenge, they're gonna get it. You don't even have to do it.
It's
Karma.
called
Just sit
karma.
back. Wait.
Let the universe correct itself.
But then our drama teacher the next day was like, "Oh, guys, it's not nice to boo people off stage." Even though I did it. So she made us do
Wow.
like trust exercises, and the girl kicked me in the face and nobody said anything. So I was so mad. I was gonna do just awful things to her, and I wrote something about it. I really hope I threw it out, because if anyone finds it, I'm just it's not good for me. But oh yeah, sorry. So really give it time. You will let it go and know that bad things will happen to them, and have fun with that Schadenfreude.
But I don't want anyone to root for that.
No, don't root for that, but
I mean, I get it conceptually. I get it.
Conceptually.
But if you can be above that,
If
and
you
so I
can-
want good things to happen to me. That's your focus.
if initially you can think of that and then be like, I'm better than that, and just try to hold yourself to a different standard.
Well, what you can say that I think is healthy is like, you have to live with the pain of being you, idiot.
Yeah.
And because
That's what I do.
when you spread unjoy comes back to you, and you don't even have to be responsible for the revenge, but you don't have to necessarily root for that. You just have to understand that we are in basic balance, and that this will correct itself if I continue doing good deeds.
And it's okay to be angry. You just have to not take it too far.
Right, Maddie?
So, funny story. You know that, like, one person that you just absolutely cannot stand in middle school? Like, that one person above all else that you just cannot, like, even describe how... yeah, that person.
Okay.
I saw that person today on my way here. It was the weirdest thing. I don't go to that school anymore. But I walked past. No, I wasn't walking. I was in the car. She was walking. And I was like,
Really?
I know you. I know that person. Anyway, sorry. Keo.
Yeah, I think middle schoolers might be the most hateful people out there, but I personally, I think of it like this. I'm willing to help everyone I meet to as like within my comfort zone, but like help them. If they do something bad to me, they're off the list of getting help. They're on a list of you don't get anything, and I pity them for that. So I don't go to anger. I go to pity. It's like, I feel bad for you, because I mean, I don't know if I believe in karma and all that, but if you believe that, then you pity them for that, and also they just don't get to be your friend anymore.
Well, whether or not you actually believe in karma, you do have to believe that energy follows the laws of physics, so that whatever we put out is what we will get back. And some people expect it to be immediate, like, why wasn't that guy struck down by lightning this afternoon? I can't wait any longer for the justice to be met. And it's not going to be that immediate. It will just be at the 25th class reunion, and then you'll go, oh, okay. Satisfied.
Finally.
Nico?
Revenge for the paperclip throwing incident.
Those awful paperclip throwers. I'm so sorry.
But you will have long forgotten the person, and then suddenly you'll see them and go, oh, I see what happened.
Okay, so first, I'd love to hear some of those revenge tactics you were thinking of. Can't reveal your secrets. All right. We'll talk after the show. All right. So if it's people I don't really know, like some random girl at school is like, oh, you look so fat in that dress. I'd be like, all right, I don't even care. And then I just go hang out with my friends. It's like, it takes a lot to get me mad. Like, but in certain cases where like someone close to me gets me mad, then I really don't know how to deal with it besides talking it out or getting wicked mind powers and murdering them.
Sure.
But yeah,
But make it look like an accident.
yeah. If you want an alternative, at least just talk it out.
What if you can't talk it out?
Well, then,
Mind powers, right?
exactly.
Maddie?
I have some advice for you, saying that, when you don't know how to handle it when someone close to you kind of gets you angry. a short story and then the advice. I have a friend who I was having this kind of like drama with because she has a lot of boyfriends. Let's just not at the same time, but in consecutively. And there was a story with this one guy, and then she kind of, how when people say something and they want a response, like they want a certain kind of response from you by saying that one thing, whatever it is. She said that, and I just didn't give her the response that she was looking for, and that kind of upset her. And very instantaneously, she was like, "Well, bye," and I'm just like, "Bye, okay, bye." By not getting the reaction, it kind of cooled everything down. And I think she may have realized that she was being silly, although that could just be me, hoping that that's what she was thinking. But it kind of cools down when you don't give the people the reaction that you're looking for, and you kind of keep everything kind of one level. If you get really angry with someone who's getting angry with you, it's just all gonna...
You diffused it.
Yeah,
You took its power from it.
Yeah.
Montana.
One more thing, if you're still very angry, I hope this helps. A lot of the time, it's the people who are, offending you in some way, it's because their own problems with themselves. I later found out that my drama teacher was absolutely crazy. Sometimes when we got our skits wrong, she would cry under her desk in the fetal position. So, and I wasn't even particularly happy about that. I was even though I still hated her, I was like, wow, feel bad for you.
She's a mess.
She was a mess. Oh my god.
All right, we're gonna let you go, Mrs. Calfera. Thank you so much for calling in. We have one more Thread Theater to do. It's a 3-act play tonight. I've titled this one Empty, and we're gonna just start with Nico and go around the room. It begins with Layfield 24.
I've liked this girl for a while now, but her last boyfriend hurt her bad, and she says she's empty and has no feelings. I'd do anything for her, but what do I say or do for her to like me back?
Me lol.
Show her that you actually care. It'll take some time if she's really upset. Try not to stay too attached because she might need some space as well. But she most likely just needs a shoulder to lean on and someone who will listen.
Michaela.
Let her know that you care and you will be there for whatever, and that you will be there for her for whatever happens.
Madison.
If her boyfriend hurt her and she's hurt, tread on light water, but don't make her feel fragile and pathetic. Girls like to be independent. Try telling her some jokes and don't put the moves on her until she seems ready.
If you'd like to make a
ready. Remember, girls. Oh, wait. No, it's not remember girls. It's remember girls usually say they're fine when they're not. So wait a while after you think she's okay. Change what she thinks of guys. Best of luck.
CMD 1095.
Be there for her. Do all you can for her. Make jokes, make her laugh, and be genuinely a nice guy. Pretty much what's been said so far, really. Just be careful not to overdo it and come off as a fake. Make sure everything you do is thoughtful and, most importantly, genuine.
Mickey 321.
I've been in her situation and I felt the same way she does. Let her know that you really care and tell her that if she needs to talk to someone, that you'll always be there to listen. It may take some time to change how she feels about guys and everything, so don't push it. Continue as her friend, not her admirer. Spend time with her, but don't make it obvious to the world that you like her. She most likely wants someone to listen to her, treat her like she means something, so show her exactly that. I hope I helped. Good luck.
So how did you guys feel about the advice? Nico.
I felt it was pretty good. The parts about being genuine. I lost my place.
But is he able to be genuine if he's pretending he doesn't have feelings for her?
There's something I want to lay down right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do not just be nice to this girl because you want to be her boyfriend. If you do that, you are scum. Do not just be her friend because you eventually want to date this chick or just bone this chick. That is disgusting, and you should not expect any kind of love from her. You should not expect any kind of just like, oh, I'm her friend, I deserve some kind of relationship like that. I'm sorry, Montana?
Yeah, exactly what you said. And she's in a really tough situation right now because she thinks of guys as because of her last boyfriend as these just awful people who go around hurting people. And he does want to be her boyfriend, but not in the same way that guy was with her. He wants to, like, be nice to her and still be your friend. So basically what they were saying, you have to be okay with possibly just being her friend indefinitely, and if you can be okay with that, you are a great friend and potential boyfriend. And that's her decision to make later on when she's, like, more stable. And don't date a girl who's completely unstable, because that will just fall apart.
Right. You can't be the rebound guy. You've got to let her heal. Maddie?
I mean, I think that, everyone, did a pretty good job with giving advice there. I mean, there isn't too much to say besides, exactly that, Montana, is that he needs to, I mean, if he can be her friend and also, he can still like her if he's okay with just being her friend.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously, can't be like, I love you, I love you, I love you every 5 minutes, because that'd be really weird. I mean, if he can like her and still be her friend and be supportive and not try to be her boyfriend, especially now and later if she doesn't want it, if anybody's ever seen How I Met Your Mother, Ted, who's, like the main character, liked this girl. It didn't work between them, but they were still really close friends throughout. So, if you can stay friends, whether, you ask the person out and they say no, or, the person, isn't ready to be asked out, you just have to be okay with that if you want to be their friend. Kyo.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said, and I think that the advice that was given was really good. And the only thing that I would kind of take note on is you should protect your feelings and not expect to be with her, not expect to end up with her as a boyfriend. And because it might end up that she just doesn't like you like that and she wants to be your friend, and then you're going to be left with, but I thought, and you're going to be expecting something. So protect your feelings, Nico.
Now, if you do truly care about being her friend, the most important thing right now for someone that's hurt is not what you might be thinking to give her advice that all guys aren't like that. The most important thing and the best advice I could possibly give to anyone in this situation is just to be there. Don't always be the one who has to tell her all guys aren't like that. That's not going to happen every time. Be the one who's quiet enough to listen, and at the same time, when she's done talking, be able to say, if you ever need to talk about this again, I'm here. Just let her be able to vent is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. And there's a certain time in life when you need to just give love away without expecting anything in return. But there's a point of diminishing returns because you have your own heart to protect. And so if after 6 months it doesn't look like anything's going to happen, then you can still respectfully say, I love you as a friend, but I do love you as more than a friend, which is why I'm going to have to retreat a little bit. In other words, you give with no expectations up to a point, and then if you're romantically attached to this person and she's keeping you from falling in love with someone else, you do have to step away at a certain point. Maddie?
And it's okay to kind of, try to be her friend without any, without thinking of anything back. And if it's too hard, you can say to her, I like you more than a friend, and I feel like it might be better for me to have some distance from you right now. I don't think you should be too offended by that, to be honest. Kia?
Yeah, and I think just on a practical point, if you have something that's sensitive to you, open up to her. And that's something that can kind of build trust, because people feel more like trusting people when they become vulnerable.
Yes, and it creates a bond
that
could strengthen over time. And I mean, I do think there's a ton of potential, and just that even she's been honest enough to say, I'm gutted. I don't feel anything. And it may not be that even that her former boyfriend was such a jerk. It may just be that she's completely heartbroken. Maddie?
And I mean, I just really have to say, I think we should do a round of applause for our viewers for giving such great advice.
Yeah.
I mean, that was,
It was really good. If only we could end the show right now. But there's a minute to go. So does anyone else... Oh, do we have anyone on the phone with us right now that's been listening to this very, very insightful...
She hung up.
Oh, she did. Okay, wonderful.
Hung up on me.
No, she hung up on me. Does anyone else have anything to add to the conversation? I think we did a good job. And Nico, yes?
Focus on being a friend more than being a boyfriend.
Yeah, but for about 6 months. And then you can say, I kind of have feelings for you. And
Yeah.
at a certain point, you do have to say that. Because some people just devote themselves to this friendship forever and will spend years hoping it materializes into something more. And
It's like on TV when you watch that one couple in high school be all, oh God, I really love this girl, but I'm not telling her. And it goes on for 7 seasons, and you want to just slap the person across the face. You do not want to be that person.
no, you don't want a 7-seasoner. Nope, nope, nope. You gotta let your heart be known by the end of the first season.
Right.
I would say. We are Our Place Out Loud. Thank you to the wonderful panel. Thank you to our in-studio guests. I am Louise Palenka, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
I've been out there wandering. I've been in here wondering, hoping, reaching, wishing I could find my way. Then I found